So someone please call 911, 911, 911.
I'm Amanda and I'm a hypochondriac. It's an outdated term now for the most part. It's not referred to that anymore. It's now called health anxiety. My health anxiety or hypochondria has been with me from I was a small child, but I wasn't born with it. It is a result of the influence and upbringing I had. Munchausen Syndrome is where a person invents a myriad of medical issues in order to gain attention or sympathy. Munchausen Syndrome by proxy is when you do it with your child also. Like myself, the first time you might have heard of it is from the controversy surrounding Eminem's song Cleaning Out My Closet, where he claims to have been a victim of it. I knew I certainly didn't have Munchausen by proxy, as my health anxieties only ever directed at myself. And if anything, I consciously always try to play down medical issues with my own kids so they wouldn't end up like me. I wanted to explore more deeply about what exactly I was suffering from, hypochondria or Munchausen's, and what I could do about it. I needed to go back to the roots of it in my childhood and find out firstly why I am the way I am. Did my mother have Munchausen by proxy? I remember she used to talk about medical conditions all the time: appendicitis, heart attacks, strokes, aneurysms. She either knew someone who had almost died from it or worried about getting them herself. She'd look them up in her medical encyclopedia and be on the lookout for any symptoms. However, ironically, when she thought she had any symptoms, she wouldn't go and get them checked. She'd just go on and on about having the symptoms, saying even though she was worried it probably wasn't anything serious, which I didn't really understand. Perhaps she was too embarrassed to keep going to the doctors and try to deal with the panic and anxiety herself. Maybe she was looking for someone to offer her reassurance, like a cry for help, which didn't really work, as it was like the boy who cried wolf. No one really took it seriously after a while. Or maybe she liked the attention. I guess we will never know now, as she has passed away. And the morning she died from a massive heart attack, she didn't seek help either. But one thing is for certain, she didn't have the same reservations when it came to me. With me, she brought me to the doctor or hospital for literally everything. She gave me medication for everything and anything and got tests on an irregular basis. I lived in a constant state of fear of my own body, in a time where I shouldn't have had a care in the world, knowing all the ways it could malfunction and the tests or treatments it involved, if and when it did. It certainly ticks all the boxes for Munchausen's by proxy, but the thing that confused me for years is that I do believe she loved me and wouldn't have deliberately inflicted that on me. People with Munchausen's are usually very self-centred. They invent these medical issues, sometimes even rigging tests to fool the doctors, but they know in their heart it isn't real. That wasn't my mother. I believe my mother thought it was real, which makes it hypochondria. But as she was inflicting her anxiety onto another person, it should be hypochondria by proxy. While there's very little out there regarding Munchausen's by proxy, there's even less for hypochondria by proxy, if it even is a thing, yet the effects are the same. If it was Munchausen's in the true sense, as in calculated, I don't think I could have forgiven her for the awful legacy she left me. But hypochondria by proxy means she was a victim too, and I did forgive her a long time ago. She had such severe health anxiety that she worried about me as much as she did herself. Trying to live a normal life when you have been a victim of either Munchausen's or hypochondria by proxy is very difficult, if not impossible. It has a lasting effect that no matter how you try to control it, it is always there in the back of your mind. Many of us have suffered from prescription medication addiction due to the propensity to see it as normal to take multiple pills for everything, as that's what you've always experienced. You can have a phobia of things like injections, IVs, and other unpleasant procedures, which is a kind of PTSD. But the worst is the fear of your own body. Most people don't really think that much about how their body functions. But when it has been instilled in you that so much can go wrong, your body becomes something that you really can't rely on to work properly. You live in a constant state of fear of what can happen. Every pain and ache every symptom is a potential threat to your life. On one hand, you're terrified that something serious is going on, but on the other hand, you're terrified of the test to find out, and the treatments if your worst fears are confirmed. That's how I knew that I myself have hypochondria, or health anxiety, and not Munchausen's, as I don't derive any satisfaction from the attention of illness. I want to be well. As you get older, it gets worse, because you do get more health conditions and more symptoms, which causes more anxiety. As you try and understand, you discover what a powerful thing your mind is. Hypochondria is not imagining symptoms or making them up. They are, in fact, real. Anxiety triggers a range of hormonal activity that creates real physical symptoms. Out of all the different types of anxiety, hypochondria, or health anxiety, gets the least amount of empathy or support. People do seem to have the impression that it's attention seeking, or that you should just pull yourself out of it, which isn't that simple. Doctors don't always take you seriously, or act like you're wasting their time, so you never quite know if they are reassuring you or fobbing you off because they think you're a hypochondriac, which in turn leaves you anxious that, like my mother, the one time it is something serious, maybe they'll miss it. There needs to be more understanding and help for those who suffer with health anxiety, not only for their own well-being, but also to avoid a situation where it's passed down to the next generation, not out of deliberate harm, but out of overprotective love.